Normalization of extreme MAGA Republicans is one of the things that serves them so well, because it seems repetitive, or you'll be denounced by MAGA if you do anything otherwise. A lot of people, mainstream media, conduct interviews with MAGA figures and just end up normalizing them by moving on from what makes them so uniquely bad, which in the case of the person we'll be talking about here is Kari Lake. And at the center of our entire democratic process, we've gone through it so many times, is our democracy and accepting election results as lawful whenever they are, and they have been. And Kari Lake is one of the people who still has not accepted her 2022 gubernatorial run. Now she's running for Senate. And the argument you're going to hear in this interview is, oh, well, I just want to move forward. But see, it's impossible for us to do that as you're currently running to solve problems, but you're asking for power through a democratic process if you don't respect the democratic process. You're about to enter into an election where you might lose. She's going to lose. I'll show you the polls after this, but if we don't know if you're even going to deem this outcome legitimate, and Caitlin Collins does such a great job here of not allowing Kari Lake to pressure her into moving off of such a fundamental issue, because this is the reality check you have to do with any MAGA Republican. And then if they're able to acknowledge the legitimacy of our electoral process, then we can talk about all the issues you want to talk about. Here's Caitlin Collins. So much credit to her. Kari Lake, I think just based off the vibe I'm getting from Kari Lake, she's realizing it's over. And the polls look really bad for her because Arizonans are sick of her. While you're watching this, please do click the subscribe button if you haven't already. We're attempting to cross 1 million subscribers by Election Day because of you. Thank you so much.
On your race itself, have you changed your position on whether you lost the 2022 election for governor?
First of all, I want to go back to a question you just answered. I have not changed my position on early voting. We have to vote for the entire season.
You voted early after you've criticized it previously.
I did vote early. And I plan to, my husband plans to vote early. My daughter voted early. My son will be voting on election day. I've never changed my position. I've always said vote however you're comfortable. I do wish we had election day, but we don't. So we have to vote in that way. And we're going to make sure that we get everybody out to vote. And if you look at the stats, I don't know if you've covered this yet, because it doesn't go in the Democrats' direction. But we are seeing a huge turnout right now in Republicans voting early. It's incredible what we're seeing here on the ground.
Yeah, but I'm asking you about the turnout in 2022. Did you lose the 2022 election for governor?
Why are we looking backward? I'm looking forward, Caitlin.
Because
I already know what
you've yet to concede that race.
Caitlin, I'm looking forward to what is coming up. I'm looking forward to November 5th and this huge election. And the people of our state are caring about what's coming up, what's going forward. How are we going to make sure we secure the...
Unless you are saying we're not going to have elections going forward, which she's not saying that, then going forward, we are concerned with elections. We are. We're concerned with if you're going to accept the lawful election result. We're concerned if you care one single bit about the foundation of all of this. And I want to continue reminding all of you, because maybe this isn't something you need to hear as much as I do, but don't think you're crazy for thinking it's important that we respect democracy, because they will really convincingly go, oh my gosh, are you bringing this up again? Weird. Caitlin, move on. No one cares. We do care. Even polling shows that preservation of American democracy is one of the top concerns for American voters. People get how harmful the election denialism and, most importantly, the actions that get justified because of it is. By the way, quickly before playing more, the point she made about I do want only election day voting, but as long as we have early voting, yeah, sure, people can do that. What's the argument there? Why would we needlessly, when we have no evidence, zero, zip, none, to say that our elections currently aren't secure, but if we only did one day voting, they would be secure? Both points there don't have any evidence. So all you're saying is you needlessly want to make it way less convenient for people to vote. Life is crazy. Sometimes that one day that's election day, it's going to be impossible for you to get to the polls. A family emergency, a health crisis, work comes up. Why not have days leading up to the election where people can exercise their right to vote? It's very, very weird they say that.
The border. What can we as Republicans do to make sure we bring back that thriving economy where we had record low unemployment?
So you're not going to say whether or not you lost the 2022 race. Is that what I'm hearing?
You know what, Caitlin? You've seen thousands of interviews from me. I've answered that a million times. I'm looking forward.
You've actually yet to answer the question directly on whether you believe that you did lose the election.
Well, I want to make sure our elections are run properly, and I'm still in litigation, so I don't want to speak to that. But I do want to look forward, and it's so funny that the media, Caitlin, hold up. The media can't get over it. You say I can't get over it, and it looks like you can't.
I don't think I said that. I just said you haven't conceded the race. And I know you mentioned
Caitlin,
your litigation.
hold
You
up.
filed multiple lawsuits. Have any of those lawsuits been successful?
Okay, and then she moves on from there to a border-related point. But that game can't be played. We're not doing that. Because anything you would bring about the border, do you know how we choose who is going to have the power to address such issues? Democracy. And you don't seem to care about buying into the legitimacy of democracy. And the fact that people act like they don't comprehend that drives me crazy. You get it. And then they'll go, oh, the media is obsessed with this. What? So, you followed along with Trump. Y'all both have been lying about elections. So, you've convinced gullible people or malicious people to get into positions of power, to win positions as election officials, who then, some of them, are dedicated to making sure they only allow a Trump victory to be certified, even if Harris wins. Your argument that going forward, Vice President Kamala Harris, even if Trump won, could refuse to certify his win. Your argument asserts that. Do you see how that could cause our whole democracy to collapse if Kamala Harris bite into that? But she doesn't. Trump does. She doesn't, because she cares about democracy. You don't care. Here's more.
In your positions,
Really
I question
though,
you on that because
Caitlin, I was just in New York City. I believe that's where you are broadcasting live from tonight. The streets aren't safe anymore. The subways aren't safe anymore. I care about.
I take the subway all the time.
Sure
It is safe, but I want to get back to focusing on you because on the question here. And the question that we're talking about when it comes to you and your positions, I just wonder because you have changed your positions on many issues. When it comes to that 1864 abortion law, when it comes to early voting, you used to oppose early voting. You voted early in this election. When it comes to courting McCain Republicans in your state, you once told them, to leave an event of yours to get the hell out was the phrase you used. You later said you were joking. I mean, some people may look at that and say, well, this is a candidate who has changed her position on a lot of things that we're looking at.
I want to secure the border. I want a strong economy. I want schools that are teaching our kids lessons that actually help them get ahead. My opponent has done an extreme makeover.
She says she wants to secure the border, but opposes solutions to do so. She wants a strong economy, but pretends like our current economy hasn't overseen a miraculous recovery from a pandemic set of conditions that Trump exacerbated. And she wants education to be better, but is a part of the party that has overseen disproportionately worse educational outcomes in red states across the country. Interesting.
He's voted for open borders. He's voted against the border wall. He called Trump supporters dumb, and he called Trump supporters and Republicans the worst people in the world.
But I'm asking you about your positions with all due respect.
But I'm telling you, I'm about to explain this. He's also voted for defunding the police. He's done an extreme makeover. He came on your show and you never interrupted him once. And I'm here to tell you, we have a lot of issues as women we care about. I care deeply about the little boy who was possibly wearing this shoe when he crossed our border, who's now missing. I worry about where he is right now. I worry about the people who are sex trafficked into our country and across our border. And most importantly, one of the most important issues I worry about is the weapon of mass destruction pouring across our border. It's called fentanyl, and it's killing about 100,000 young people about your age every year. I'm worried about your generation. I have kids that are probably about your age, and they've told me, my son just came home from college the other day, and he said, Mom, I don't think that we'll ever be able to afford a home in our generation because the housing prices have soared, especially in the past 4 years. They've gone up.
Yeah, and a lot of people are worried about housing prices. A lot of people are worried about fentanyl, and I should know most of it comes through legal ports of entry. But Kari Lake, on your race,
21 million people here,
and then on your race in and of itself, when I was talking about your positions on those key issues that also matter, obviously, you know, abortion is also going to be a big one, in addition to the economy and immigration and your...
Yeah, so the last thing we'll get to is on the subject of abortion, Kari Lake's flip-flops, but let's see, so much there. I will say the theme, today's whole show, we're going to come back to this over and over and over again, is that MAGA thinks that it is a solution to talk about a problem. It's not it. We all acknowledge housing prices being so unaffordable for people. We all acknowledge the deaths that are coming of fentanyl. And it's more than just saying those things are happening. It's about figuring out how we solve those problems. For example, on housing, whether you like it or not, Kamala Harris has actually explained comprehensively what she would do to address the affordability problems. Part of it is money for first-time homebuyers to help them purchase their first house. The second part is purchasing, I think the goal she said was not purchasing, building, I should say, 2 million new housing units. She's explained how she would address this issue. Trump just sort of spins out every time he tries to explain a specific policy position. Or fentanyl. The Stop Fentanyl Act was supported by Republicans and Democrats, but enough Republicans and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, to help Trump refuse to take it up for a vote. And they try to connect this to undocumented immigration, which is also a subject that we've gone through so many times, but why are you acting like this is connected to illegal crossings across the border when the vast majority of fentanyl comes through legal ports of entry? So clearly resources need to go there to prevent the illegal crossing of fentanyl through the legal ports of entry. So a lot there. Proof of what we talked about in the Trump segment. They've gotten really good at scaring people about stuff, but not connecting that fear-mongering to solutions, which is so unfortunate. Then on abortion.
Did you vote on that Arizona abortion measure?
I voted for the law that we have. The current law is 15 weeks, and it provides abortion up to 15 weeks. But the beauty of this is that the people of Arizona get to decide. We get the choice in this, and my opponent wants to take that choice away from us, drag it back to some back room with Chuck Schumer, and decide what the law is here in Arizona. And the people of Arizona get to decide. They'll either decide to keep the current law or go with this proposition. And the one thing I will tell the folks in Arizona that are watching tonight is that when I am in the U.S. Senate, I will not vote for a federal abortion ban. I believe it should fall into the people of the state to decide, nor will I vote.
So that's the argument that all of these Republicans have now adopted because it's Trump's position. And I'm getting pretty tired hearing, oh, we don't want in some back room the federal government to tell us what Arizona's abortion laws need to be, when the vast majority of Americans actually support reinstating the guidelines laid out, or not the guidelines, that's the wrong word for it, but the law that was set by Roe v. Wade. And that's what Vice President Kamala Harris is proposing, which, by the way, I do have a quick clip on that. A lot of times anchors will get really fixated on, well, what do you personally think the restriction line should be with abortion? And Harris had enough with that and said this.
So then why not say what restrictions you would support as part of that?
I've told you.
And
Let's put back in place Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, I don't know what this obsession is. I guess it's just to sort of show Republicans, look, we're asking the question. No, it's so clear. The Democratic position is let's enshrine in federal law what was laid out in Roe v. Wade. First trimester, states are completely prevented from restricting a woman's right to an abortion. Second trimester, regulations are then allowed. Third trimester, strict regulations are allowed. And most people, I think, know that. That's why polling shows most people support that being put back into federal law. And this obsession with, no, but where would you draw the particular line for the general Democratic position is pre-viability. You have what people describe as elective abortions. Post-viability, medically necessary instances. And we're not going to get into this ridiculous conversation over and over again. So stop allowing it. Stop asking these silly nonsense questions that play into the idea that super late in the pregnancy, any elective abortions are even a thing that would happen or do happen. If someone's seeing through their pregnancy that far in, of course, the only instance where they seek such a procedure is when something has gone wrong medically with the health of the fetus or health of themselves. And that's what then has to be protected in law for people to be able to get the care they need. And so Harris not really entertaining this makes me actually pretty happy. But Kari Lake really, as the topic of this segment, struggling, seeing her campaign go up in flames. And specifically, you can see here, this is brutal. In the Real Clear Politics average of polls, Gallego's leading her by 6.3 percentage points. This is supposed to be a close race. You can see at one point it was, but it's very much not now. And that is a good thing. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Support the show by getting that bonus show by clicking the join button below.